Hey there, and welcome back to Am I the Asshole? Magic the Gathering Edition. Tonight we have another Reddit story. Am I the asshole for enforcing the Magic the Gathering rules? Today I played a non-trivial game of try-hard competitive Commander with quite an interesting finish. I would love to know what you think about my and others' behavior. Let's start with raw description of the most interesting moment of the game. Active player Gitrog Monster has his Gitrog on the table, and it is his end step. He doesn't control any relevant permanents other than lands. He has 8 cards in hand, one of which is Dakmor Salvage. Me and the third player can't do anything relevant, at least to my knowledge. The active player explains his loop, where he discards Dakmor to hand size and immediately dredges it, thus milling 2 cards and having a chance to draw an additional card, which forces him to discard an additional card to hand size. He then announces that it is a loop, which leads to him having Oblivion Crown in his hand, from which point he can deterministically win by being able to mill and draw arbitrary number of cards, looping rituals, crop rotations, and assassin's trophies using Kozilek. However, it is not deterministic that he gets Oblivion Crown to his hand using the hand size loop, because he has no control over what cards he mills and what cards he draws. I told him that he had to execute his combo and helped him with his shortcuts. This is a common thing in our playgroup where while one person is going off, the others help by drawing and milling cards, putting resolve spells into the graveyard and counting mana in the mana pool. After barely going through half of his deck, the Gitrog player told him that he didn't have time for executing the combo, and that it is really not cool of me to not let him win when he clearly has it. Everyone else in the room called me out for bad sportsmanship, despite agreeing that technically I was right and acknowledging that Gitrog player wasn't guaranteed to win. So what do you think? Who is in the wrong, and what is the best solution in situations like this? Cheers bonus, how does this change when during this hot discussion the third player reveals that he had castable Force of Negation this whole time? This is a bit of an interesting one, because it's like, how long do you want to sit and wait while somebody executes their win condition? I think rules-wise, you have to go through it. I mean, it would be in the other player's right to concede. It would be their right to concede. And then if he doesn't want to concede, he wants to watch the loop go through, that's fine. The loop itself isn't what wins him in the game, though. The loop itself is what is getting him to his win. So, thereby, he isn't automatically winning when he gets the loop off, you know what I mean? It'd be different if like the loop was what was automatically getting him to the win. But the loop is just getting him to the card that will then get him the win. Okay, so Doc is explaining it. So you get to draw every time that a land goes into your graveyard because of Gitrog, and you can turn all your drawers into dredging, which would cause more land to go into the graveyard. So it's possible you'd run out of lands and you wouldn't be able to draw anymore? I don't understand. I've never played this commander before. I've never played against this commander before, so pretty much guaranteed. So in your opinion, Doc, if it's pretty much guaranteed and somebody wants to see it be played out, is that their right, or are they being an asshole and wasting people's time? I can understand demonstrating it like at least once. Yeah. You should be able to demonstrate it, like the loop once, and then after that, I guess, maybe that's when you would stop, but I'm kind of on the fence here. So on one hand, if you're competent, you're most definitely going to get to your win condition. So why go through the whole thing? On the other hand, it is possible to mess up the loop, and it is possible to interrupt said loop. So if anybody has a direction at your board, they can do that. This specific loop that they're talking about has an RNG element, and that's why they want it to be played out. So he could possibly accidentally discard his card that is his win condition. This is really insane. Why would you play this? Who would choose to play this? This breaks my brain. This is worse than Zada. I need to do some Googling. 1 second. Drawing the library. Although the setup to draw your library will always be the same, there are a few different veins in which you can execute this. Each of them have their benefits, and here we will detail 2 of them. They are identical until just before they actually draw the library. Procedure is to discard Dakmor Salvage to your discard outlet, triggering the Gitrog monster. Resolve the draw trigger, choosing to replace the draw with Dakmor Salvage's Dredge. 2 cards have hit the yard the moment you chose to dredge and have one of 6 configurations. 2 non-lands, 2 lands, 1 land and 1 non-land, 1 land and 1 shuffler, 1 non-land and 1 shuffler, 2 shufflers. Shuffler refers to either Kozilek, Butcher of Truth, Ulamog, the Infinite Gyre, or Gaia's Blessing. If 1, no triggers, discard Dakmor Salvage again. If 2 or 3, a Gitrog trigger goes onto the stack, discard Dakmor Salvage in response. If 4, a Gitrog and Shuffler trigger each go onto the stack, resolve Shuffler first, then discard Dakmor Salvage with the Drog trigger still on the stack. If 5 or 6, a Shuffler trigger goes on the stack. Let it resolve, then discard Dakmor Salvage again. Note, this is a normal procedure if this occurs upon your first dredge of Dakmor Salvage after a shuffle. Then you must dredge in again until you hit a land and draw a card before letting the shuffle resolve. Worst case scenario, configuration 6 occurs immediately after each shuffle, every time, and you end up drawing lands off of each Gitrog trigger until the library is devoid of all but 1 land. The solution is to discard all of your lands besides Dakmor and draw that amount of cards from the library. Repeat this process if we continue assuming the worst case scenario until your graveyard and or library is just lands and shufflers. If you draw your Eldrazi Titan during this process, then simply discard it. What? This is so insane. Well, because if one person decides they want to see the combo, the other 2 people have the right to concede and say, I don't want to do that. So I don't think he's an asshole for wanting to see the combo go out through, honestly. So Andre is saying that once the loop starts, there's nothing you can do about it unless you have interaction. The person's gonna fucking win. Do you want to hop in voice chat? 1 second, the husband's coming.
Hello?
Hi.
Yeah, what I was saying though is like, even though it's non-deterministic, it's still pretty much a guarantee. However, like, it just highly depends on who you're playing. So if this was like me, and I'm playing with like Kieran or Doc, I know that they know how this thing is going to run, and I perfectly trust that they'll win with it. But if it's like some random, either online or person I've never played with before, I'll want to see it. Just because, yes, while it is a win, essentially, I want to see that they actually know what they're doing, because if they mess up, well, that's a big mess up after that, and that's the chance of someone. So,
I think that's the crux of it. If it's something that you can mess up, you should have to play it. If somebody wants you to play out the combo, there's a reason they want you to play out the combo, and you should have to do it. No questions asked. If you have a problem with that, why are you playing that deck?
Yeah, I think that's a good take there. It's like I was saying, it's also the same as like playing like partner Clark Sakashima. There's like a loop you can go into that's essentially a win, but it's non-deterministic, and you have to play it out to show that you can actually win with it.
I agree. I don't think that this third person's the asshole, because they want to see the combo played out. And he even like helped with the shuffle, like he was helping with the mills to make it go faster. So like he was, you know, it's not like he's like, oh, do it all by yourself. Like he was being helpful. It sounds like they do this all the time because they have a system to help each other with their triggers when they do this. So which is insane to me. But yeah, being told my combo wins means nothing if you've never seen that person go through that combo process. I want to see what the comments say. So to start off, there isn't going to be an easy answer for this. There have been times where we've okayed Gitrog to go ahead and sculpt their desired 7 cards when it's become clear no one has the means of stopping it. There are also times when they've needed to go off manually, since people do have things to play around, and sometimes they get there and sometimes they don't. Really, the Gitrog and Step Sculpt is a specific case where there is no right answer. Slow play rules are finicky at best and aren't necessarily even something you want to apply. The way that my playgroup usually handles this is that the player with loop will declare they have it and ask the table if we need to see it. Sometimes we say no and shuffle up for another game. Sometimes one or more players will ask to see it and the player demonstrates it. This has worked pretty consistently for my group. My feeling is that you definitely are not the asshole, especially with a Frog Dakmor loop that could potentially whiff. If you're playing by the rules and not acting like an asshole, then you're probably not the asshole. I don't think he's the asshole for wanting to see the combo. I think it's within your right to want to see the combo. So yeah, no, I don't think that they're the asshole at the end of the day. But let me know in the comments what you think. I am definitely always wanting to learn.